that leads us on just to a few other conditional features, and we'll just talk about it briefly. I did say before that you can subscribe to the Finance Marketing Guide from the front page of our website or any number of locations throughout our website. Once somebody has downloaded that manual, again, we want to escalate them. Now, according to Google, somebody will visit your website 9 times before they become a customer. Right, that's a lot, up to 9 times. And Domenico and I had to, look over that number a few times because it sounded high. But then when we talked about our own experience, we appreciated that is probably close to being correct. So people do come back to your website repeatedly, which makes our conditional content and conditional escalation features all the more important because it crafts your website, which we talk about as being the chameleon of the website world. We introduced that when we talked about the website a few videos ago, I think. And it crafts the website into an experience that is designed specifically for the user that is visiting your website. Now, that applies to the form escalation. If somebody downloads something, a lead magnet, a book, whatever, subscribes to something, we don't, I say necessarily want to show them that same form again, but the necessarily word is somewhat obsolete. We don't want to show them that same form again because that negates the functionality or escalation advantage based on providing a new lead magnet. We can dig them deeper into the marketing funnel, demonstrate our expertise, authoritativeness, and our product suite in a new and a different way by giving them a new document to download.
Especially if it's part of an education sequence where the second document builds on the knowledge that the first lead magnet has provided to the customer. And if you do third and fourth and just keep building it up so they can see the expertise, they can obtain something physical and read it and understand more and more about what you're about and what your knowledge is like.
Yeah. So again, guys, escalation of commitment, it is the underlying, it's one of the, we've got a very different marketing philosophy than you're probably familiar with, and our ideology is somewhat disconnected from what is or what might be considered to be a standard, and that's because the standard that I don't need to go into, but the standard that is applied now is one that applied 24 years ago when we were first building these systems. It just hasn't changed. So unfortunately, digital is not evolved, and what we're describing now is not rocket science. Like it's just we've designed this in an integrated manner to take advantage of what we understand of human behavior and what we know converts and what we know will get you better results. And that's just a conversion. That's just the website conversion, the subscription. It doesn't take into account the extraordinary experience someone has once they're in the funnel, or the automation that takes place and so on, on the back end. Although, and I do make mention of this in the book, the subscription form is a conduit, right? It connects any online object or asset, any marketing asset, to your marketing funnel. It's responsible for ingesting people into that experience. So it has to be good. And keep in mind, right, if we escalate someone to another form, they will not be required to add their name and email again into a form because we already know that. We generally do provide those fields that are pre-populated with their name and email because it's saved in cookie and session, but they can change that if they want, which is not such a bad thing because we record that change. So we're able to learn a little bit more about them on the basis of an email change.
And especially as, the names have become a bit more genuine the further they become into the experience. Is one thing we have seen occur.
It happens all the time. Someone gives a very phony name and the phone number is 0412 345 678. And sure enough, that turns into a real phone number by, email 5 or 6, and you go, okay, And you always bring it up. I always bring it up with people. So your phone number is not 0412 34. I guess the very last thing we should say is that conditional redirect is measured. So it's applied to our statistical engine. So we know, obviously, we can break up the conversions as you would expect in different ways. We know how effective different conversion pages are and so on. For very advanced, what?
Yeah, I was going to say very advanced, but we also do split testing on the pages.
Yeah.
And even though it's beyond the scope of this particular video, it would be good to actually mention that we do provide it, yeah.
Yeah, so you can make 3 or 4 calendar landing pages that are applied as a second page, 3 or 4 phone landing pages, and 2 or 3, or 4 or 5 or 6, probably the most important pages that apply those, the page that is assigned to email subscribers only, those people that don't commit, and then you can measure the conversion off those. But that is, again, an advanced sequence, but the system handles that. It supports that feature. So if you want to use it, you can. We do not. Right? We occasionally split 1 or 2 pages, but we wouldn't split a second page phone subscriber or a calendar subscriber page, just unless we were experimenting, I guess, with the technology. But we'd certainly split email subscriber pages. That's actually quite important because we need to develop that group of people into something.
The first 2 options have resulted in a contact. We've got a calendar, we've got a phone number, so we're going to make contact. The third option is still in the grey area, which is why you want to fine-tune it.
That's right. And just once again, that does lead into the marketing funnel. It's not a sales funnel. It's not a linear transactional sales funnel. It's not salesy. And we've got some amazingly bad examples of email sequences that are floating around the market. Some are made by, some of those people that might consider themselves our competitors out in the market. They put them in Word documents and have people copy them into MailChimp and all sorts of dumb stuff. But we kind of make those available. We de-identify them and say this is what your competition is using, so this is what you're up against, just to reassure people and I guess highlight the fact that what they're doing is just so much more persuasive and powerful and superior. This little video. Guys, if you do want to talk to us, 1300 235 433, that's 1300 BELIEF. We're available almost 24 hours a day. If you do get voicemail, please just leave a message and somebody will see that message very, very quickly. And if you do call at 2 o'clock in the morning, please leave a time that you are available, because if you call at 2, we don't want you. We wouldn't call you at 4 a.m. But if you said I'm going to be available until 5 a.m., we might give it a go. Sometimes we'll send a text message or something before we call just to make sure it's suitable.
Especially if we get that grey area of 4 a.m. where they could be going to bed or just getting up, so we don't know which one it is.
But we always have someone manning the office virtually 24 hours a day. In fact, most occasions 24 hours a day. 1300 235 433. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.